let's get into why I think the writers chose to focus the last scene of the final episode of Reverse for You on resolving some plot lines involving Kun for Jatawa and Ki for. I think it's also part of the sanitizing drive to make the stories more palatable or more acceptable to general audiences by, I guess, improving the morality of the storyline by attempting to resolve some things in a in a manner that was more, I guess, socially acceptable. Um, for one, in the book, I actually like the fact that Jatawa was very petty when it came to Ki because there was a part there wherein they were already in their late 20s, going to 30s, that Jatawa and Four just celebrated Four's birthday, and Four was heavily inebriated. So she was already fast asleep with Jatawa. They were already living together. And then Ki uh, actually called for some reason. I forgot why. Probably because it was her birthday, and Ki remembered that it was Four's birthday because they were close when they were kids. And she sent some messages to Four, and also, if I remember correctly, tried to call her, or maybe not. I think just sent messages, but it was Jatawa who read them because Four was asleep, and she erased them because she did not want Four and Ki reconciling. One, she was afraid that it would divert attention away from her, so that was really, there was a little bit of jealousy there. So that was, at least in my opinion, quite cute. And also because the other one was petty. He just there actually was a part there wherein Ki was on television. She was on television a lot because she was already a national volleyball player for Thailand, and she was very successful. And Jadawa's thoughts were just keep running uh, and tiring yourself out, being guilty with your success because you did it at Four's expense by breaking her leg deliberately. So there was that part wherein you're never gonna find forgiveness for what you did. There was that petty part of Jadawa that I actually appreciated because it was, she's not a perfect heroine. She was not a perfect person, and that was just a detail that I guess, among all the other details that were dropped from the drama series, would not translate well, and would, it's not a good lesson for it's not a good lesson for the audience to be that petty. But it's in the book, so it's one of the aspects of Jadawa that I love is the fact that, as a lawyer and as a person, she actually was kind of spicy and she had antisocial tendencies that were quite relatable to real people. But despite of her imperfections, you will still root for her. And another plot point that they resolved in that scene was Kun having a crush on Chatwa. In the book, that was actually one of the things that she wanted to fix when she went back in time. Not just to save Bibi's life, not just to find a way to resolve the conflict between Four and her stepmother, was also to give a better outcome for Kun. Because, spoilers here, Kun would get married to a woman that eventually would not be a happy marriage. So, if I remember correctly, in the last successful attempt of their time reversal to save everyone, Jalawa also kind of fixed Kun's life. And he actually, for some reason, he became obsessed with gardening or agriculture. So yeah, in the drama series, they just resolved that by, having a conversation with Jatawa, telling him frankly that I'm not into you and I like someone else, and that was, just to get all the loose ends resolved. But I have another theory, or maybe I'm thinking, was it a way to promote these other actors for Cantana Studios? Because I don't know if Zezeho made a story for Key. So far, Zezeho's books that are translated into English are Reverse for You, Reverse with Me, which is going to be adapted by Siam Studios. Yep. And I think the name of the book is About Galaxy. That's also going to be adapted into a drama series. I forgot which studio, but that book is actually about Clow Clun's KK in Reverse with You bandmate, one of their bandmates. It was Lady Jane? I forgot her name, but it was the one that had there was an ML or a Mom Luang or an MR, a Mom Rajawangse. Anyway, it wasn't about Key, but I'm wondering if Sezeho has a story about Key, and maybe they were trying to, like, I'm just hypothetical. Maybe they were going to tie in Reverse for You to Key story if one exists, and they're going to make it with that actress as the lead actress. Maybe I'm just thinking that's why they inserted that awkward last scene. Maybe they're thinking of tying up another drama series to Reverse for You, but this time they're going to adapt Key's story if it exists, because I don't know if one was made by Zezeho. I don't think they made one. But just to add to that, did you know that the Reverse for You universe is actually larger? It's actually a series of connected stories that's, I think, spans more than 4 or 5 books. So part of the book series is in Reverse for You is the story of each of the snakes or serpents in Forest group. Remember that group where Yoko Dirk Presert was actually cast as one of the members of the Forest Serpents or snakes of Jadawa and Forest University. They each have a book. And the reason why I know that is because in the introductory notes of the author, she mentioned there that this is Forest's turn. This is Forest's story. So that means that it seems that the other serpents or snakes had their own books. I'm not completely sure about that. I'm just basing it on the author's notes, and I haven't translated all the descriptions and titles of the novels in Web Market under Zezeho. But I am sure that each of the members of the Edge of the Universe band has their own story, and they also have a special chapter about the band itself, or a special book about the band itself. Edge of Universe, for those who are not following Zezeho's novels, is the band where KK, I call her KK, Cow Clues, or Cow Clues, is a member of, because KK is the lead singer of the Edge of the Universe band, and KK is going to be the girlfriend of Dr. Karan, which is Wa and For's daughter. So in, I guess, what would be the follow-up book or sequel for Reverse for You, which is Reverse with Me, that is tied up to other books that are characters within Reverse with Me, which is KK's bandmates. So they each have a story. So it's much wider because from what I understand, Reverse for You, Reverse with Me, and then Stuck with Me, which is the story of My Tree, Wa and For's youngest daughter. That's the time reversal series by Zezeho. So those 3 books seem to be the only ones that have a supernatural theme that is related to time manipulation. And then other than that, it seems that other stories are, normal or not supernatural based GL novels. And for My Tree story, just a little tidbit about that. Her love interest is actually a paralegal. So it's like the sister storylines are like are like mirrored, like they're a reversal of each other, wherein Dr. Karan falls in love with a med student. So Wafor's daughter is like, she's like the top in that relationship. On the other hand, My Tree is a lawyer, and then she's going to fall in love with a paralegal. I don't know if it's her own paralegal. So it's like the professional relationship is reversed at this time. My Tree, Wafor's daughter, has like a more senior role over her partner. I don't know how that's going to play out, but from the cover art of Stuck with Me, it seems that the paralegal is taller, and we know what that means usually in the GL series. So, and My Tree in Reverse with Me, her portrayal was that she was kind of impish or a little not childlike, but more youthful and more naughty. So I guess her paralegal would be taking on the more assertive role, maybe, since I haven't begun reading the book yet. There is no English translation of Stuck with Me yet, but it was already announced that it is going to be adapted into a drama series. And what was the thing that I wanted to say about the books? There was something, I did mention before that I was afraid that they were not going to show how awesome Jatawa was as a prosecutor, because she was kind of ruthless as a prosecutor. Uh, she was also a subject of public scrutiny because of her doggedness in pursuing justice for cases that reflected what happened to V. So she made I guess of course, she made enemies. And one of the cases stressed her out a lot because she was dreaming, or she knew that it might result in four getting stabbed. And actually, that was also one of the things that they fixed in the last successful attempt at time reversal. She wanted a way to avoid getting that murder case, which will result in four getting stabbed. And this time around, since Vivi is alive in the last timeline, she was able to get a vision and guide Jatawa into doing something that would alleviate that hatred, so that Ford doesn't get stabbed as a result of her being the prosecutor in that murder case. So that was actually the final thing that they resolved in the book, because as I said before in the previous my previous video on Reverse for You, there were actually a lot of murders in the book that really showcased how Jadawa was um, flourishing as a lawyer, and also how it tied on to her trying to get justice for Vivi, and also find a way for to avoid conflict with her stepmother, and also avoid getting hurt because of these criminal activities. I had to switch mics and do this over because the rain started you know you can hear it in the background. Anyway, my final thought on the ending of the drama series was that I have a little gripe about how they resolved everything too neatly. When in the book, I think one of the beautiful lessons that you can take away from the book is that not every story has to have a total win. Like we are so conditioned, especially for babies, that for us kids that grew up on Disney movies, wherein you expect the hero to have a total win. Like you get the girl, you get the wealth, you get the fame, and that's what we should all aspire for. Being heroes in our own lives. We tend to think that we need to get it all, but in the book, for them to have their happy ending, Thor had to let go of her claim to her inheritance. By avoiding conflict with her stepmother. So when Jadawa went back, she was coaching Thor on how to avoid conflict with her stepmom, because that the fact that she knew that Thor knew that her son was not legitimate, but he was going to inherit it all and be the head of the of Thor's father's company, instead of Thor being the inheritor, as she was the last remaining blood descendant of her father's line, was the way for them to avoid getting Vivi and Thor murdered. So in the drama series, they were able to resolve everything neatly. The killer was jailed because Jadawa happened to record the stepmother and the killer having a transaction and money being exchanged, and it so happened that Vivi had a vision that Thor was going to get shot. He was able to call the police. So no, in the book, for them to get their happy ending, Thor had to let go of that. So the stepmother was never brought to justice. The killer was never brought to justice. That killer was actually the one who killed Thor's dad. So you could say that it's like the villains got away with it, but in a way, it was a choice. Like for us to have all that is important to us, which is Vivi and Thor being alive, and for Thor and Jatawa to be together. Do they really need the material wealth? Do they really need to get a total win over Thor's stepmother? They didn't, because Thor did not need her inheritance to be successful, because she was a great businesswoman, and she didn't really need to inherit the wealth to be able to build that wealth. So in the end, they were really wealthy because of Thor's skills. So she didn't need to prove that her supposed brother should not be the rightful heir. Doesn't matter, because she had the skills to be rich anyway. And did they have to bring the stepmother to justice in the end? They had to let go of that. It didn't matter, because what was important was that Thor and Jadawa would be together, and Vivi was alive. So that's a great lesson about life, that it's very rare for you to have like a total victory, and it's also kind of hurtful for you to strive towards perfection when what you should be focusing on are the most important things in your life, which are being with the ones that you love the most, or having them alive with you. And that was just neatly resolved in the drama series, very quickly, very efficiently. Actually, the writers were very good because they were able to, find solutions to tie up loose ends. But the, I felt that the direction of the book was better in teaching us to be able to let go of things that didn't matter, so that we could retain those that really matter, which is being with those that having those that you love, being alive and being with you. So yeah. Well, it's better to, I guess, have this adaptation than not to have it, because at least Penthouse Studios was able to deliver in its project, even though it took them like a year because there was a problem with Christine. She almost left the project and then she came back. So at least they were able to complete the production. Unlike that other series, the Be Mine or Be My Baby series, wherein that studio tried to make all the books at the same time, and they were able to cast everyone, and everyone was excited because the whole series was going to be in production simultaneously. And then in the end, I don't know what happened. It's like they probably just ran out of money because they attempted to adapt all the complete series for the Be My Baby series in one go, when that's not feasible. It's like they have a large overhead going into production, and in the end they weren't able to shoot anything, and they had to let go of the actresses. So it's a good thing that Pop Pie was picked up for Make the series, and then the other couple was picked up for Apple series. But a win is a win. We were able to get an adaptation of Reverse for You, even though it's not perfect. At least it's a complete drama series, even though it's short. Unlike the Be My Baby or Be Mine series, which never came into fruition because of the ridiculous expectations of that production, and I guess the enormous cost. Although I hope later on that studio is able to deliver, because they did say in their last statement that they were committed in getting the Be Mine or the Be My Baby series into getting adapted. So at least we have Reverse for You, and now we have Reverse with Me to look forward to, which I'm excited about it because it looks like a more polished and a more I won't say that it would be a better production, but I'm excited by the behind the scenes and the production videos that they're posting. It seems like it's going to be a good drama series, so let's look forward to that.